This is Distance from Center. I'm Horton. He's Trent. Here to talk about the news in water skiing this week. First and foremost, Nate Smith received his the conclusion of the investigation and the sanctions against him, and he will be back on the water, I believe, in another 30 to 60 days. Trent, do you
August
remember
1st.
which is?
Yeah,
August 1st?
I believe right August 1st. Yeah. So this whole thing has been. I mean, it's been, you know, brewing, developing, interim restrictions, suspensions, and then to the grand culmination of see you in 2 months. So I don't know. I'm just like all you guys. I mean, I'm just, on the outside looking in. I'm left with way more questions than answers. One, if whatever these accusations were, they were obviously big enough that they've invested this much time and effort. They being Safe Sport, and there must have been enough gravity to them that they thought this person, shouldn't be attending these tournaments until they got to the very bottom of it. But now I'm just like, well, what deserves a 2 month suspension? I think if I'm on a starting dock in California somewhere and I punch John Horton in the nose, that probably deserves a 2 month suspension. So there was a whole bunch of the gravity to all this stuff was it seemed huge, and now we have this little slap on the wrist sort of thing. So I'm left with more questions than answers, and honestly maybe less trust in the process, less trust in Safe Sport than when this whole thing started.
Yeah, I have to completely agree about questioning Safe Sport. I think I'd prepared myself to be a defender of Safe Sport, and at this point, I have to wonder how much more they know today than they knew the day that they just gave him that initial restriction right before Moomba. And if he hadn't done anything wrong, or they didn't have evidence or proof, or they hadn't reached that threshold, why did they drag the sport through all this? I mean, this is so divisive. We didn't need any of this. There's no happy side to this whole story. I'm not very thrilled with Safe Sport.
More questions than answers, but
right.
Anyway, that's at least, I mean, I'm not saying it's over, but at least we have some closure on this particular chapter. And if it's just and everything is good, then we're moving forward. And if not, I'm sure we'll be revisiting this terrible topic down the road. On to water skiing.
Yes, please,
man.
Please.
So Keith, I'm going to say it's Albertrin. I'm sure I butchered it a little bit. Albritton. So he has Lake 38 over Tallahassee, Florida. This guy, I've known him for quite a while. Judge, driver, volunteer, skier. But now he's taking the reins and he is making sure that that there is a pro event in Florida. Something to help break up that post-Masters lull, that the humdrum days of late May, early June. Lake 38 Pro-Am.
Yeah, fantastic. And but not even talking about the performances and the skiing, something that's really great is that he paid $8,500 out to both the men and the women. As I understand it, he was planning a smaller payout for the women, and he got 14 women. He's like, look, I'm getting as many entry fees from them, and they're working just as hard. And so it was equal pay, men and women, and it was, I believe, half elite points, which is typical for a new event. But he's working towards next year, the year after, being a full elite points event, which is fantastic. I mean, we really need to thank Keith for this whole thing.
Yeah, 100%. And that's, that's the nature of pro skiing right now. It's not necessarily privately funded, but they're privately run events. There's gone to the days of the tour, which people somehow still refer to, which it blows my mind when you're talking about the nicest guy on the tour, or one of the best skiers on the tour. I'm like, there's no tour. Stop saying the tour. There's no tour. But yeah, it's private events. It's Malibu Open, Chad Scott and his group, and now it's Lake 38, Keith and his group. Badal doing the California Pro. The guys up in Canada doing the Canadian Open. Steve Garcia doing the night jump.
Right.
Jay Bennett when he does his night jump. It's all these single private events, and it takes a lot of work from individuals, but it's it's amazing that these guys are pushing the sport forward. So thank you very much. On to the results, John.
Awesome.
What grabbed your attention?
So, so I'm looking at women's results, and it's really kind of where we expect it to be. Regina running 1-1 and 2 at 41 to take first, kind of leading the pack. Right on Regina's heels is Whitney with mid 39. Did I get that right? I'm sorry. Whitney did get a 1 at 41
in the finals.
In the finals, and then
matters.
And then Minot right behind Whitney. Those three girls always falling kind of where you expect them at the moment. And then, of course, the story for 2019 is Jamie Bull right there, just behind him, doing fantastic.
Yeah. She's after paving her way to the Masters and showing up in the first round really well. Like she showed that this is she's got some momentum and it's not a flash in the pan kind of deal. She's incredible to watch. And back to the top three, I'll never get tired of watching those three. Especially Regina and Whitney battling it out right to the very end like that. Right. Regina looked amazing again. She looked better than she had looked at maybe some of the previous events this year. But Whitney looks far better than I've seen her. Her 39s are looking amazing. So. Great event. And like you said, maybe it's the finish you expected, but it was dramatic, man. Like Whitney putting a 41 score in the finals, but then just watching Regina try and chase her.
Right, and then on to the men. Really good scores again. Probably interesting is Cole McCormick, a guy we don't talk about too much, getting a 2.5 at 41. So he is an up and comer. Yeah. Lots of threes at 41. Settlemeyer, Neview's on fire, and Asher getting into 41 every round, a 1 at 41, a 3 at 41, a 3 at 41, and a 3 at 41. So Asher has obviously got something good going on right now. And then of course, Mr. Winter coming through and taking the event with a 3 1/4 at 41.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I don't know if everyone got to watch that final, but it ended up being a three-way tie. Freddie Winter, Will Asher, Stephen Nevieu, all 3 at 41. The runoff was Will went out first, and I mean the start he had at 41 was incredible. There was a weird late roll at the finish of 3, and he just ended up just having a little bit more than he was going to be able to hang on to, and ended up with 3. Then Nevieu went out, answered the call. An easy 3 at 41. I know he's kicking himself because I know he knows he deserved 4 or 5. Didn't get it. That's fine. But then Freddie doing Freddie, and
right.
He had the worst 1 ball and the worst 2 ball of the bunch. Somehow, really got in front of it at 3 and just pulled all the way to 4 and just did Freddie, man. He just threw his ski out. Did not let go of the handle. If you want a quarter buoy, don't let go of the handle, right. Because even if you get it, it's garbage. So right. he knows. He didn't let go. He got his tip around the ski, ate all kinds of crap, and got the win. It was super, super cool. Like the webcast, I know they're in the middle of nowhere. They're out there. They don't have really good internet service, but the webcast was still pretty darn good. So we thank those guys for giving us something to watch on Sunday.
And it is available for review. If you want to look at it, it's up there. If you go back to the webcast is on the link is in the Ball Spray forum. If you go back to it, you dig around, you can find the Vimeo and you can rewatch the whole thing if you like.
Awesome. All right.
That's it. We have any? What's next?
I'm sure there's a big dog coming up at some point pretty quick.
No. Maybe Spain, but not California's is in July.
Yeah. One of the first qualifying rounds I think is probably coming up kind of soon, and then I don't know, man. Are we waiting for the Malibu Open? Is that?
I don't know. I have 9 rounds this weekend, so I'm just trying to rest.
All right. Well, it's ski season. Keep an eye on. There's a whole bunch of records going on down south. So there's between Nevieu, Will Asher. There's a whole bunch of guys looking to be that next guy to run 41 again, or Nevieu's
is Nevieu going to be the next man to run 41?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hold you to that. All right. Thank you, folks. See you soon.